so I'm also going to talk to you about double object pronouns. We have talked about in the past direct object pronouns and indirect object pronouns, and what double object pronouns are putting them all together. They still go in the same place, even if you're using two at a time. So when both a direct and an indirect object pronoun are used together, so direct and indirect together, they go before the verb, and the indirect goes first. So I'll put that over here, just out to the side. Both pronouns, or actually I'll do it. Place both pronouns before the verb, and the indirect object pronoun should be written before the direct one. Okay, so Juan, me traes la película, te la traigo en un momento. So I'm saying, Juan, will you bring me the movie? I'm going to bring it to you in a minute. So we see that we've got traigo is our verb, and then you've got your direct object, and then before that your indirect object. Okay, so the indirect object pronouns lay and lace change to say when they appear with the direct object pronoun. So actually I'm going to pull up practice to show you what that looks like. Okay, so let's look at practice to best show us how to do that. So here it says les preparas la cena a tus hijos. The first thing that I would suggest doing if you're doing something like this is to identify your verb, which is preparas. Whoops, I'll do it in red. I'll just circle it. Preparas, okay? And then we'll do our direct object. Let's do it in green. So the verb is what you're doing, okay? The direct object is so for example, if you're preparing, what are you preparing? The dinner. That's your direct object. It answers the question what. And then for whom is this dinner being prepared? That's your indirect, your kids. Okay, so we are gonna have, let me just put that up here. Verb, and in case we need to identify the subject, we'll do it in blue. Green is our direct object, and purple is our indirect. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to end up doing is saying, so the question is asking, do you prepare dinner for your kids? So you're going to say, yes, I prepare it for them every night. So what we're going to want to replace are our indirects and our directs objects, making them pronouns. So you've already got the pronoun for the indirect as les. So what we want to do is figure out for la cena, that's our direct object. So we would use la for cena, which I would put right here. Okay, and so what goes first when you're writing that would be your indirect, and then second would be your direct. So what you would actually write here would be les, la. Okay, well that sounds funky. So what they're telling you is anytime you end up with a scenario in which you're using either lo or la and los or los and las as your direct object, and your indirect is at the same time either le or les, you're going to have to change your le to say, because si les la is just too hard to say. So they change the les to say, si se la preparo todas las noches. Okay, let's go back and finish talking about it, and then we'll come back here and we'll do a little bit more practice. But I guess before I go, if you end up with lay low, you can't have have, I don't know if they have it in here. Okay, whoops. Okay, so if you have lay low, it's going to become say low. If you have lay la, that's going to become say la. If you have lays low, that's going to become say low. If you have lays la, that's going to become say la. If you have lay lows, that's going to become say los. If you have lay las, that's going to become say las. If you have lays los, that's going to become say los. And if you have lays las, that's going to become say las. Okay. So you can't have, and I'll just go through, okay, they do have it here. You can't have these. If you end up with these scenarios, that's what you're going to want to change. You're going to want to change it to. So if you end up, going through and changing your directs and your indirects, and you have any of these situations here, you're going to change them to what I've written on the right. Okay. Okay. As with single object pronouns, the double object pronouns may be attached to the infinitive or present participle, but again, the order is maintained. You're going to keep the indirect always before the direct, and you're going to add an accent mark to the stressed vowel of the verb. So whatever vowel had the stress without the attached pronouns, that's when you're going to add it. So like traer, it was stressed on that E, so when I add the tela, I need to write it in. Buscando tela ahora mismo. Okay, so, and then for the review, okay, and this just gives you kind of a repeat of everything that's been said over here and telling you what pages to look back on for directs and indirects. So let's just go back and do some more practice. Okay, so we're going to do our practice here, and I think it's easiest always to start by identifying your verb. So, ¿cuándo me vas a dar los libros? We need that vas. Okay, so then you ask yourself, what is being given? So, vas a dar is, you're going to give, what are you going to give? You're going to give books. And los libros, because that's your direct object, this would all be your greens, and this is your purples. Okay, so since this is green, we're going to go over here. Los libros would become los. Oh, whoops, I don't want that. Okay, and so it says, ¿Cuándo me vas a dar los libros? So then your indirect, so it's going to give, are you going to give, what are you going to give? Books, that's your direct object. To whom are you going to be giving these books? To me, that's your indirect object. Now, because it's saying, when are you going to give me the books? The answer is, I'm going to give them to you. So may is actually going to change as well, and you would become, because we're using the informal with vas, we would make it te, okay? And so then my indirect comes first, then my direct, and that's how I would do that. Te los voy a dar a lunes. I don't need to change te to say. I only have to make a change if I end up with two, if my direct and my indirect both start with an L. If one starts with an L and another one starts with something else, then it's fine to leave it as is. Okay. So in 3, ¿cuándo nos va a dar la tarea el profesor? Again, we want to identify our verb, and I probably should have circled the whole thing last. Oops. Okay, so va a dar, okay, which is going to give. What is going to be given? What's going to be given is the homework, and so that would become La. Okay, to whom is it going to be given? It's going to be given to us. Okay, so cuando nos va a dar la tarea el profesor? So we're going to say he is going to give it to us tomorrow. Okay, so we'll keep nos the same. You might could have interpreted that as he's going to give it to y'all tomorrow, but we'll say he's going to give it to us tomorrow. And so in that case, my indirect is nos, it goes first, and then my direct is la. Okay, mesero, ¿me puede traer el menú? Okay. Puede traer is my verb. That's can you bring? Can you bring what? The menu. That would change to lo because I'm looking over here, right? El menú. I've got to pick from the green. Mesero, can you bring me the menu? So if he says yes, I can bring it to who? To you. So your me is going to have to change to te in your answer because you know, you're saying, can you bring me a menu? And then if he answers back, he's going to refer to you, you as you. Can you bring me a menu? Yes, I can bring it to you. So that would become te. Actually, they're having a formal, you know, because this is a business interaction, you'll notice that the verb is formal this time. So I'm going to use le instead of te. I'm going to use the usted form. Okay, so then I would put my indirect object first. Whoops, le, my direct object second, lo, and now I've ended up with a lay low scenario, which I'm not supposed to have. If I have lay low, I need to change it to say low. Sí, se lo traigo enseguida. Yeah, I'm going to bring it to you right away. Okay, tu esposo te sirve el desayuno en la cama. So I find the verb sirve. Okay, what's being served? The breakfast. Who's being served? It's you. So if I say, does your wife serve you breakfast in bed? You're going to say, no, she never serves me. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to do over here, that would be desayuno would be in the green. We'd change it to lo. Okay, what would go first is me. What would go second is lo, and I don't need to do any changing because they don't both start with an L. Okay, ¿Quién le dio la propina al mesero? We've got, whoops, wrong color. We've got dio is our verb. What's being given? It's the tip. And we would make that la. Okay, and to whom is it being given? The waiter or him, which we can just circle the le. It'll be either le or mesero. I mean, they're the same thing. Okay, so then when I write it in here, I'm going to put my le first, le, and then I'm going to put la. But I can't do that. I can't have le la. If I end up with le la, I change it to se la. Okay. Rolando, le leíste el libro a tu hermanita? So we've got leíste, did you read? Did you read what? The book, which would become lo. And who did you read it to? Your sister or her, which would be le. Yes, I read it to her last night. Whoops, wrong color. Okay, so when you answer that, you would put le, lo, which you can't have. Le lo should become se lo.